Special event alert.
The portals will lock down, so you might as well go get donuts because you will be late for Changeover, your weekly space news and variety show. I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by Mr. History, Eric Perron.
What's going on, troops?
Our little mule, Juanito Lopez. And our favorite broad with a heat wave, Anna Mondragon.
Yeah!
We're here to bring you the latest headlines and updates pertinent to all Guardians and to the other lower branches as well. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh as we present Late for Changeover.
Sounds
Hey!
like glowing or something. Heat wave.
Well, I couldn't say
You know
canned
what it
goods,
meant.
right?
The last podcast.
Well, maybe heat wave meant like hot sauce, you know? Maybe you were
It meant World
spicy.
War II.
Keep backpedaling. Keep
You were
back.
spicy. That's what I meant by that. A broad with a spicy wave. No, that sounds even worse.
You're
Just
just
stop
making it worse.
while you're ahead, Marty.
Jake, can you hear us?
Yep.
All
Hey,
right.
hey,
And our
hey,
man in the
hey.
closet, Jake
Right.
Wall.
There's like a
Finally
beat.
back
Just
in
headphones.
action.
That's good, man. That's good. It's good to see everyone. I got a great show planned to entertain you today, I hope. With a little bit of input from you guys. So, everybody doing all right? Everybody good? We got a full show tonight. Jake's back from the Pacific Northwest flu.
The state of beavers. Go Beavs.
Yeah. From the motherland.
Juan, when do you start your barber school?
I got one more week with you guys, so the week of the 19th.
Right.
Exciting.
Anna,
yeah.
when's your daughter supposed to come back? In less than an hour, right? So
Correct. She hadn't left yet, so that hour's shorter.
So she's on the clock, man.
So when did the time start? Yeah.
Is she
she's
on the
still-
clock or does it?
that's right. Or does the time start when she changes shorts?
Right?
Valid question.
I haven't
That's a
seen her
valid
leave,
question.
so I don't know.
That is valid.
And if she changes and she's just like, bye, mama, see you later. And wait. You just hear the
Under
door
those
slam.
steps.
She
And
probably
does
doesn't
your
have,
daughter
the
have
right
a
shorts.
I love Air Force tattoo on the small of her back?
Yeah, with a heart.
Oh, there you go.
Good
All right.
call,
I
Eric.
You know,
Better walk out with that thing.
sisters, my parents were pretty strict. My sisters used to leave school all dressed up, and then they'll go to the locker rooms and they'll change into whatever teenagers were back in the late 90s.
Yeah,
My mom never found out, but my brother was the jelly type, so he would like see them. He's like, "You better go back and change," and blah blah blah. I think he was worse than
Really?
my dad. Oh yeah.
Well, from interviewing Anna, I think Anna was the troublemaker, but her older sister was the one trying to keep things together. Am I right on that?
That's factual. I had a rebellious streak to me.
Did she get mad at you? Damn it, Anna.
Stop doing that. They said you can't do that. You can't do that.
Oh,
You're like, shut up. They're not going to know.
There's
And
a
look at
rebel
that.
amongst us. There is a
And
rebel.
look at that.
amongst us.
She had a full career, even became an officer of the United States Air Force.
Factual.
You could see all that with the interaction with your daughter of it's an hour. You better be home quick and change those
yeah,
shorts.
right.
You
right.
could see the fact that you were a deviant back at her exact
Yeah.
age and you knew what she was going to be doing.
She's like, damn, mom is so strict. And they're like, she wasn't. She was a rule breaker.
Yeah, that's why
She's
a
trying to
strict
hide
one
it.
My daughter's
Yep.
like your sister who changed her clothing at school.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
He thinks her mother will
admits
never
it.
find out what she's doing. Never.
She's
She
like,
admits it.
oh, yeah, I did that. Sorry.
Oh, ask
It's
for
easier to ask
forgiveness because
forgiveness.
that definitely can't
Yeah.
ask for permission.
Yeah.
Yep,
You guys been following the Olympics at all?
of
A little
course.
bit.
Yeah,
On
I try
occasion.
to follow some of it. It's just the recaps are pretty good. You know, you get 4 or 5 minute recaps on YouTube or from NBC or whatever they are. But trying to watch them live is just, forget it.
I'm a big fan of the track and field. That goes quick.
Yeah.
200 to 100 to 1500.
I am too.
I
I
like
watched the girl from the Netherlands come back on that relay and beat
Holy
the whole
crap.
field. I was like, wow, look at her kick, man. That was amazing.
Yep.
And I watched the woman from Ukraine I think she was Ukraine, who set the high jump world record.
Yeah.
That
I
was
zoomed
pretty
in a couple of times on the French pole vault, so that's good.
Nice.
Well, you wanted to see and clear the bar, of course, right?
Well, see, I'm a big fan of.
If he were circumcised, he'd be fine.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about now. Holy
The
Thank
guy's
you, Eric.
packing and didn't get a medal. Well,
And then he gets offered a porno job.
Is there any other better way to go? Oh, I didn't medal, and they're like, "Oh, why? What happened? You fucked up." He's like,
Here's the picture.
"My junk."
I got it laminated.
Don't blame him. Blame his parents.
Oh yeah, just salute him. Really, I mean,
Curse you,
he
God,
was
for this
saluting.
wonderful package.
Wear tighter shorts. Wear some Duluth. What are they called?
Duluths.
The one that gives
Baby
you the extra.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit and let's go to some military women of note. So this last weekend was the Miss USA pageant. And the winner of Miss USA was Miss Michigan, who is also a second lieutenant and a West Point honor grad. Her name was Alma Cooper.
Wow.
And she was crowned on Sunday the 4th. So here's an interview after she was crowned.
And you're forging a path not only in pageantry, but also in the military, being an officer in the military. So being that,
Look at that
tell us a little
smile.
bit more about not only that experience,
way
but
you
how
guys
that transcends to this
pull
and
the
the
shift with
similarities
her.
between the two.
Yes, I mean, I think the
Oh, I
biggest
could
thing
pull a
is
shift with her.
character. And
Depends on the
we're-
flight
My
suit.
dad always says, you know, someone can have more things than you, have more money than you, but never let someone
Navy, never
outwork you.
mind.
And I think that
That's Army.
following my dad's quote,
Something other than Air Force.
he was prior military as well. He was he retired after 20 years of service. So to me,
He was a
just
tanker,
having that
an
as him as a
armor
role
guy.
model means so much.
dad.
And I also think about the way that he has inspired me and encouraged me when I was at West Point. I was challenged, I was forged by the flame, and to me, being in that environment and really testing my character is what I think has truly led to me being in this opportunity.
I love that. My dad was in the Army too, so I understand that very, very
She's
well.
trying to glom on. It's like, who cares if your dad was in the Army?
Good for
So,
her.
I mean,
Who was the Air Force lady that won?
I know.
She was Miss Colorado. I think.
Oh, it was just. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Yes.
downplay her.
She's
Miss
just a
Just
state,
Miss
Jake.
Colorado.
She's not all
My bad.
50 states plus Puerto Rico. All right. Come on.
Isn't she
So-
supposed,
And
I think
Guam?
she's supposed to be at the 140th.
Yeah, she's showing up there this week or something like that. So,
Yeah.
but Alma Cooper, she was an honor grad in math. And then she's going to Stanford for like her master's. I think she got branched intel. But again, you'll never see her do that job. Because you barely saw Eric do any security forces because he was off.
Oh, here's the
Gallup.
Been out
soapbox.
winning a gold
Bring out
medal.
that soapbox, Marty.
And lastly, because I interviewed her, was Mrs. Kendra Harrelson. She's Mrs. Texas, and they had the Mrs. USA pageant this last weekend, and she got second runner-up, and that's her second from the right. That's Kendra Harrelson, Mrs. Texas. So she got
Very cool.
second runner-up in their pageant. Remember, Eric, that was the one they could increase their standing if we donated to their charity.
Way to go, guys. You didn't even finish that.
Dang.
So
We-
she's Miss Texas. I see the next There's a Southern Texas,
Mrs.
Mrs. Texas, and there's
Yeah.
Mrs. Southern Texas. Did you see that? I didn't know they divided Texas. Into
Well, maybe there's a lot of
Yeah.
Texans. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
And you
weird.
can't show thigh unless you win. Everybody knows that rule.
There's no Mrs. Eastern Texas, sir. That's for sure.
Oh, there's definitely not West Texas for sure.
I'm from West Texas, fool.
Yeah. Amen.
Ow! Way to step
Dang.
on it, Jake.
Oh,
Oh, I throw it all in.
I'm not
You
showing
just
up
got your
anymore.
junk hung up on the pole too, pal.
Is Jake gonna be there? 'Cause I'm not gonna go.
That was great. She called you fool. Mrs. San Angelo on a Mondragon. Hell. I like the walk.
Let me see your
Yeah.
your
No, because I got little hands. They don't count.
What do you mean you got a little
Little nubs.
you little nub in it?
Little nubs.
She's a T-Rex.
I can barely lift my arm that high.
Jeez.
Okay, well that went off the rails quick.
Let's go, Jake.
Let's get to the news, shall we? All right, we finally got a Boeing Starliner update. They're back.
Well,
Right?
they're 85 years old now, and they're.
I tell you,
Yeah.
man, we could have done.
You're younger when you're in space, so we're older.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
They ate
They're gonna
fast
come back and
food
die.
these days.
But man, we could have done a brilliant running skit. We just put like a cockpit background. These guys playing Uno and like, are we fucking going home yet? And they're like, no, not today. And just guys walking in the background, looking at them all pissed off, like left the lid off the peanut butter again. God damn it.
Mhm.
So do
Whose
they
turn is
sign
it to
a
recycle the
disclaimer?
pee? Not me.
Do they sign like a hazardous, like, I don't know, some kind of thing saying you may be stuck up there forever, bro?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good
They have
point.
to. They have to.
You can't sue Boeing if you happen to stay
if you're
50
stuck
days
in
past
space.
the date that we're supposed to do. Right?
That's crazy.
Well,
It's been like 2 months now, 3 months.
Is time off planet
50
tax
days.
free?
Yeah, almost 2
Dang.
months. So
Crazy.
now this story is from gizmodo.com. It's got a lot of speculation, but I thought it would bring up some interesting points that we might talk about. NASA might delay the upcoming Crew 9 mission to return the stranded Starliner astronauts to Earth. Now remember, they say they're not stranded. Everybody kept that's the first thing out of everybody's mouth. They're not stranded. We can bring them back today if we wanted to. Well, how come you haven't? Because we don't want to.
We don't want it.
We don't
Well,
want
the testing evaluation team at Boeing said they need to do a couple more tests just to make sure.
They said they completed all the tests, but
But
So,
come
we
on,
don't wanna-
seriously.
do
Do you trust it?
this article does raise an interesting idea, and I want to get your reaction to it. It's been nearly 2 months since Boeing's Starliner spacecraft arrived at the ISS for its first crewed test flight. Despite several technical mishaps that have delayed Starliner's return to Earth, NASA has continuously insisted that the vehicle is capable of carrying the crew back. Recent reports, however, suggest the space agency is looking at other alternatives to bring its 2 astronauts home safely. NASA officials are considering delaying the launch of SpaceX's Crew 9 mission from August 18th to September 24th.
Ooh,
Like 6 weeks.
they're gonna
And
be
carrying 2 astronauts instead of 4. So they could bring the Starliner crew guys back.
Yep.
Their families are probably protesting outside of Boeing's office.
Well,
Signs and all.
the move would certainly signal the failure of Starliner's first voyage to the ISS with astronauts on board and confirm that despite NASA's attempts to downplay the spacecraft's glitches, they call it a glitch. 5 helium leaks, they call it a glitch.
What do
It
they
was
call
not
when a tire falls off the airplane?
Mild inconvenience.
What do you call it when the
Kind of
window
inconvenience.
blows off on its way to the pad? That's a glitch.
You know what, Marty? I don't know if we jinxed this because even before it launched, we talked about it and we're like, well, I don't know, Boeing. And look what
Yeah.
happened. I
Yeah.
think we jinxed it.
What do you think the Boeing Christmas party is going to be like this year?
I don't
The
know.
exec's gonna get a freaking bonus. Don't even play it off.
I think the party's going to welcome everybody because the doors are going to be open, so it doesn't matter, right?
I mean, do you think at the Secret Santa, there's just going to be a bunch of people go buy a bunch of models of Starliner, and they're like, "Ah, you got stuck with the Starliner."
Every boss.
Oh,
has an
you
open
got
door
the
policy,
Dreamliner, the jet.
regardless whether they want it or not.
What is that called?
And all-
White elephant gift or whatever.
Right. You got the SpaceX. Oh, lucky you.
Oh no! Or what if you get,
You're making
or
it
what if
home.
you get a free ticket to space on the Starliner? Would you take it?
You asked that last time. Shit, no, not now.
Me neither.
I
would
mean,
go
they're
with Elon
still
way
alive,
before
so
I'd
it's
go with
better
this
than
guy.
the Titanic sub,
Oh,
right?
shit.
So
And they're doing the white elephant, and they're like, I'm taking this Starliner model, and I'm going to trade it for that pea suit over there because I want the pea suit. I'm going to drink my own pee.
Ow.
NASA's SpaceX Crew 9 mission includes 3 NASA astronauts and 1 Roscosmos cosmonaut who are scheduled for a 6-month duration stay on board the ISS. However, sources told Ars Technica, I think that's a magazine, that there was a greater than a 50-50 chance astronauts Wilmore and Williams would need to fly back on a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft due to ongoing discussions regarding the viability of the Starliner spacecraft. So is SpaceX going to get up there and they're like, yeah, you guys can come back with us, but we're here for fucking 6 months, so you're going to have to wait. I mean, they're not going to go up there and then come right back with them, are they?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's really, really
normally they
interesting.
leave that pod up there, right?
Well, yeah, they gotta disconnect something. I mean, obviously, SpaceX is going to undock and come back, and then they'll send the next crew up. But
it's the Uber space.
It's kind of Uber space. Very
Do you think they're
good.
reading the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? I mean, that would be a great book right now.
Well, sure. I mean, they're going to read it 3 times before they get home. The space Uber. Did you get the black, or did you get just a regular space Uber? I'll be like, no, I got the black, man. They're coming up in style.
SpaceX, they're coming.
Yeah, it ain't
The
Boeing.
thing is, there is a Tesla out in orbit. They did launch a Tesla car out there.
That's true. They did that like last year, didn't they?
So there's your Uber
out there, right?
And it's economical. There you go.
They said as of late last week, there was still no consensus among those responsible for making the decision, with the main concern being that they are yet to identify the root cause of the thruster failure. So
that's why they haven't brought it back, right? That's
right, because
they haven't brought it back.
Yeah. But imagine if you're the 4 guys, right? Queued up for the next SpaceX mission, and they're like, guys, we got to cut you down to 2. You let us know who it's going to be, right?
Yeah,
and they shut the door, and those 4 guys look at each other. The Russian's like, I'm going. I'm not going back to Russia. F you, man. You guys decide. Right?
Oh my God.
I mean, God, that would suck, man.
I think we're gonna just draw straws.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
I know there's a lot of speculation in an article, and they're drawing a lot of maybe unreasonable conclusions, but they still haven't come back, and they still haven't announced a date for them coming back.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, the worst of the worst situation could be, yeah, we try to bring him back, and something goes horribly wrong,
Right.
and they don't make it. I mean, I get that,
Yeah, that'd
but
be terrible.
if they have no confidence in that thing, what are they going to change now? You know what?
No,
I mean, it's
yeah.
up there, right? It's not like we can go wrench turn and add a couple more plates of atmosphere buffering against that thing, right? I mean,
Well,
it's
not with the
it's-
glitches they have; they'll all fall off.
I really think they're just going to have to bite the bullet and go, okay, we'll go home with SpaceX and
And
fuck
just
it,
send the pod down on its own. I'm surprised they haven't
Yeah.
sent the pod down on their own.
I wonder if they can remote pilot it to get the right angle and all that shit.
I highly doubt they
You know?
pilot it themselves anymore. Honestly,
You don't
probably
think
all
so?
programmed. SpaceX
Ah,
one's
maybe.
like a freaking iPad there. That's it.
Well, that's right, because I think it was either earlier this year or last year. SpaceX sent like an all civilian crew, and they flew the capsule completely from the ground here.
That's cool.
Yeah, because there's a video of those guys all getting out and they're like, yeah. But it was like, these guys aren't pilots. They're like scientists and stuff. They're like, I don't know what this thing is. What's this thing do?
That's like letting your car drive
You guys like
free.
stop poking things. Please stop poking things. Remember what we said about buttons? No. Hitchhikers got buttons aren't toys.
It's like letting your car drive hands free, man. Just let your car drive.
Right. Didn't they have that accident where the self-driving car ran over somebody? Did you read that lately?
Yeah,
I think it was a Tesla.
How tall was this person?
How tall was
I'm scared for my life.
Obviously not tall enough for the car to sense that he was there. So
I'm scared of those Chevys or those GMCs. They're freaking
they're big.
They're freaking front end comes up to here on me.
That's
I'm like,
taking
you can't see anybody below 5 foot.
No,
like done.
Absolutely not. You're right.
My life is over.
Have you not seen those new GMCs? Yeah. They're freaking huge.
Are they Tahoes or are they just a whole nother model?
Yeah,
is it really? Oh, okay.
And the grill is honestly up to my freaking mid bicep at least.
I guess I haven't seen those. Are they loaded up? Are they loaded for off road, and that's what jacked them up?
No, they're just those are the stock ones.
They're the ugliest damn things I've ever seen.
They're just ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wanted to get your opinion and see how. I'm just curious. It's going to be curious with this group. I already know Eric's opinion. Nay. Right? That's Eric's opinion. But I want to get your opinion on this article from the Air Force Times. So the Air Force rolls out, quote unquote, foundations courses for enlisted development. So this is coming. They've been in development with this for a couple of years. The U.S. Air Force's newly launched foundations courses are meant to supplement development in the ranks during traditionally slower periods of an airman's enlisted. I don't know what they mean by that. It's just like you're not going to get promoted.
Probably just waiting for like the time to get into senior airman leadership school.
I guess, right?
Instead of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's the Air Force's hierarchy of needs.
So Eric's on board already. Good to know. The courses reached full operational capability on July 19th, following 9 months of testing and training, according to the press release. The Thomas N. Barnes Center for Enlisted Education developed the curriculum as part of the Enlisted Airmanship Continuum, which is meant to guide service member development. 3 types of foundation courses are available, each with the goal of developing leadership and knowledge of strategic concepts. Now, I have an issue with that already. Right? You're going to teach an E4 about strategic concepts, and it'll be like, oh, I'm going to be late. I'll bring donuts tomorrow because I know I'm going to be late.
Can I get a tattoo? Can I just get a tattaoo?
A piercing.
Yeah, piercing or a tattaoo.
Like, I had to spend a lot of time getting my beard looked. I saw a guy walking out of Buckley today, white guy with the goatee and then like the chin strap, going up the chin. I was like, ooh, that's a really unique shaving wear. It's like, I'm good right here, but right here I get bumps. So I had to have just the chin strap.
And that was active duty?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Come on, man.
But to be fair, Marty, from what I've seen you actually approving, no one gets any extracurricular, anything. And no one gets any additional training at all, but will bitch about training levels. And broad-minded warriors.
And I know it makes no sense, does it?
It does make no sense. I'm like,
but I sure feel strongly about both.
I believe the word is hypocritical.
I do think
it is.
I will tell you.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I will tell you, Marty, when I talk to a lot of the Guardians, even on the reserve side, the airmen,
Yeah.
Juan, you've got to stop
I'm-
talking to Guardians. That's just bad juju for you.
Well, I'm just
Bad
saying
juju.
it's the training. So there's a lot of things that's happened in the last 10, 15 years, right? So I know when I went through
Yeah.
space training, I got to the unit. They made me read doctrine. They made me read all this other stuff. That's like, why the fuck do I need to know this? But it was very important, and it gave me a foundation. They don't do that anymore. They don't read doctrine. They don't care about any of that shit. So it's like you talk to them, and dude, they're really there. They get trained to do a job, and that's it. They don't know any of the bigger picture stuff, and I think that's very important to know.
I get you, but I would rather you learn how to navigate an airman who doesn't like you, but you need him to work, right? I'd rather you learn how to do that than to learn how to strategically plan a bombing mission over the Ukraine.
No,
Yeah,
I disagree with you.
I'm with
Because
Juan.
Oh, I
you-
know you disagree.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying I would rather you know
and I mean,
that.
you need assets
Because-
on target, regardless if you're doing space, regardless if you're doing cyber. I didn't say weapons on target. I said assets on target, and you're only going to learn that through mission planning, through strategic thinking.
Well,
And I want the person next to me to think the same way. Now I could
right.
tell them how to command a satellite and give them a checklist. But
Jake,
you know-
let's role play real quick. All right.
You know what? I'm with Juan, dude.
Let's
I
hope
think a majority of the problem with our force right now
I'm getting
is the fact that we don't have any long training process. Everybody's like bodies on the ops floor right now.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
a good.
not the fix to the problem. The problem is you
Just
want
do the
intelligent
near-term
bodies
mission,
on the
right?
ops floor. Yeah.
Right. Right.
You want knowledgeable. Like Juan said, we had to learn all the doctrine. We couldn't even think about taking our evals, which were stressful as shit,
right.
until we were even on the floor for 4 months or 4 weeks or whatever. We were
Yeah,
on
it
the
was
floor
focused.
pulling
yeah.
multiple shifts, whether we were ready or not. They were like, we're not even looking at your paperwork yet. You don't have anything. You think you're ready,
Okay.
you're not.
That's
And that mentality away from that knowledgeable operator is what I think is a big problem of what's causing our morale issues,
Yeah.
what's causing our crew force issues, what's causing that. There's no prestige in being an operator right now.
I'll tell you, Jake. Now that you're bringing that up, you know, Doug Ronning, Mr. DSP,
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah,
OPIR.
yeah, yeah.
I will tell you, like, he used to have these lessons. Like, why the hell am I learning this? But I'll tell you, it made me a better operator. I knew that weapon system as a mission operator. I didn't have to know TT&C or ground or how that information came down from satellite, but they taught us all that because if it
okay.
made me think.
I'm with you on that. I get you on that, right? I
But
mean, it's
you
like
took it further
Eric
more than
learning the whole security forces picture. It's us learning the whole Cybers picture. I get that. But then when you start talking doctrine at the CG
But-
level, at
Yes,
Stratcom
it's-
level,
It's
it's like,
not the same. It's
but-
not the
come
same.
on.
But ask how many of those operators know the history of OPIR. Let's talk about missile warning
that's
and why
fine.
we have OPIR. They don't know that history.
I am with
And
that.
that's-
I am
and-
all about
And
that.
when you know the history, you can also start pulling the doctrine and why we're there in doctrine.
Right.
Yeah, Juan,
But-
you got to revert it back to this enlisted development, this foundation course. That's not what we're talking about here.
Well, so now let's talk about mentorship and leadership. So something does bother me about not everyone's a leader. That does bother me. And I think that there should be different vectors. I think it's okay to have your workers and the people that you just want to use the work for. And I think it's okay to have the people be vectors for leadership. And I think you could pick those apart. Sometimes there you have the people that kiss ass and they're not great leaders. I get that. But it's like the only thing
You're not
I've
a
always
great leader,
disagreed-
but we're going to give you chief anyway.
But I just think
Way to
that
sum it up.
those foundations should come from the senior NCOs and the NCOs.
I
And
agree.
And should come from the units. If that's
Right.
where you're going, Marty, I do agree. But they
That's-
still need some
yes.
reading material, though. And they're not
Anna,
gonna
stop
do
raising
it,
your hand. Just
and
yell
they're
over
not
people.
going to do it unless you actually make it as a requirement.
Fair.
Unfortunately, that's where we're at right now.
Fair.
And That's where
Oh,
we
very
have to go.
good.
Are we talking about weapon system doctrine, or are we talking about
Just doctrine, period, leadership.
professional development doctrine?
Well, it doesn't specify, and that's why I was trying to get some specifics about what they were looking at. Right? It didn't really say that.
Eric, it's not that hard.
It is. When you
It
try to
is.
get
It
the
depends
picture.
on how you have your camera set up on your thing. Because
It's on an angle. It's
I was
going
like,
back. And
Okay.
speak to me.
Sorry,
Do
doctrine.
you believe the Air Force rolls out foundation courses for enlisted development fills the need of what Juan was just talking about?
No.
it's hard to say
Not
because I
weapons
don't. I
system.
now fair, but it's hard to say because I'm not sure what the content is. It didn't really get into that, and that's where I have an issue with it.
Sounds
Let
like
me read
some
this.
new career development.
I know, but let me read this real quick. The 3 types of foundation courses are available, each with goal of developing leadership and knowledge of strategic concepts. There's 1 course for junior enlisted airmen, 1 for non-coms, and 1 for senior NCOs. The foundations courses, which are each 5 days long, so we're not losing the person for a month or something like that, will replace base level professional seminars. Where were those?
In 5 days.
Yeah, yeah. And will be hosted at every installation operated by the service. The courses will also serve, here's my big issue with this. The courses will also serve as prerequisites for existing schools such as ALS and NCO academies, which airmen undergo to successfully rise through the
Marty,
ranks.
all they did, they formalized the NCO enhancement course. That's all they did.
Yeah.
It was just a
Yep,
requirement
that's all
on
that
this.
is.
And all they did, they formalized it. That's all
But
they
now what they're going to do, they're going to make that a prerequisite. That's where I have an issue. It's like,
Well,
oh,
it's
this
already
was
there.
supposed to just make you better.
did. It was already there.
But it's
the
like,
moment you
hey,
got
I'm
selected
ready for
to any of
ALS.
the
And they're like,
schools-
have you gone through the foundations course yet?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
But even
Like,
when you
well,
got
you're
selected
not going to
those schools,
ALS then.
even when you got selected to the schools, on base will say, hey, we need you to go to the enhancement course before you go there. Oh, you haven't taken so it was
Right.
mandatory,
As
but all
soon
they
as
did was
they
formalize.
make it, and it will turn. Look at what happened with Space 300. Okay. Now, Eric, Space 300 was this course that was like, very haughty that you could get into Space 300. And it was mostly for the officers. You know how many? They had 4 classes a year. You know how many enlisted slots they had? 4.
Per
And then
class.
you know what the reserve command did? They're like, oh, let's make this mandatory to get to senior NCO.
Ooh.
With 4 slots per quarter?
Yeah.
Eric, I took it and they put me next to like that flight chief every single time. I was one of 4 token enlisted, and they put the enlisted right next to the officer flight chief.
Yeah.
And I insisted on being called your token by my flight. I'm like, sir.
Well, once again, you guys
Who
have
am
all
I?
made
He's like,
my
Sergeant
argument. You've all made my argument about space and Guardians.
Let me
We
show
always
you.
do.
Let me show you this. Let me show you this real quick. And this is from Air and Space Forces magazine. So this is kind of the model of the enlisted airmanship continuum. The dark purple, I guess, is the foundation courses on where they should kind of fall.
All the enhancement courses, that's how they are.
That's all
Yep,
they are.
You're right. So
Yep.
they're formalizing that. And they're
And those
letting
are the areas where the enlisted ranks get the most jaded
Yep.
and disgruntled. So that's where they're trying to put them in there in that area.
How long was it for you to get through tech school before you went to ALS?
Who are you asking?
Any of you, because I didn't have to do this.
Well,
I was in
I
the
went
Army
to-
during that time. So
It was like on my 3-year mark. So by the time I was done with tech school, that was
so like
6
3 or
months.
4, right? Around senior
Yeah,
airman
3 or
time?
4. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Do you remember between ALS and NCOA?
Yeah.
How
I
many
do
years?
remember that. And I remember taking the NCO enhancement course at Vandenberg.
Oh, yeah.
Which, yeah, and then I went to
I didn't have any
NCOA.
enhancement courses.
Yeah, well, what? So look, bottom line, all it was is a whole bunch of senior NCOs like, you know what's a good idea? Because we're going to do this enhancement course because it's going to make. I led this course and enhance 100 NCOs on the base, and now I could get promoted to chief. That's all it was.
PME bullet.
Right.
But really, to be honest with you, if those senior NCOs were effective at their units and taught their NCOs what they need to be taught, you don't have a need for these courses if they did their jobs, what they're supposed to do by mentoring their people. So, but you know what? Now it's mandatory because unfortunately, and not us. I'm saying the Air Force has failed to actually develop great leaders and hold them accountable to mentor their people in their own units.
Can you see my mouse on the screen? But
What are
that
the numbers
arrow.
at the top?
Say that again.
What are the numbers at the top?
100, 200.
100, 200.
Oh,
the
I
levels.
guess just
Oh,
a
the
way to
levels.
label it. Yeah.
And are these online? Like, are they all online 5-day courses?
Well, with the exception,
I
of
don't
the
know.
fatalities,
I
would
don't
assume
think
these
so.
are
I would
I would
imagine they
think this
pull
is-
No,
them
these
over.
are all in person.
See, it's interesting because Anna came from a whole different AFSC,
Yes.
and they're just like, "Oh, we're not pulling you out because you're too critical, so you don't get to go to any school."
I was all online. It's true.
Right?
But you did correspondence, right? Which is an
Yeah.
option that
Because
they
you were
doesn't
so
allow in the
such a
reserve
small
international
career
role.
field and so critical, they
It was
couldn't
so-
afford to let you go away for a month. You know what I mean? The place would crash without you guys.
I mean, I don't know when you guys were Jake
about our
when,
Guardians?
when you were retiring. Same thing with Anna. You were enlisted. Mark, I mean, we're on enlisted, but like, I mean, we always used the excuse to always be too busy to mentor people, and that always bothered me.
Yes.
Well, I don't
And
ever
it was
think
like-
that I
Yeah.
think that mentoring was done properly in the Air Force.
So,
At least
I-
in the space. I don't know. Maybe
Look,
Eric, maybe that was different for you, but
I think it was in weapons. There was a big difference.
and it could have been. It
between
might have just been
mentoring-
space. You're right. Yeah, it might have
But
just been.
I
Space,
think
too.
Marty, though, in weapons, I was assigned like day in, day out. I was assigned to my NCO. Like he was
Right.
my crew chief.
Right.
Like
He
my
saw you every day.
one man.
Yeah.
Every single day he saw me and he would be like, "All right, how you doing on your CDCs? How you doing
Right.
on this?"
It was
Now I
easy.
had to redo my CDCs when I came over to space, and it
Yeah.
was literally like, "Who's your supervisor?" And the orderly
Oh,
room
yeah.
handed me my CDCs, and they were like, "You know how to do this,"
Yeah.
and it was like way different
I think
than
each career field grooms a different leader.
yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. That's a
Because I
good.
think-
Yeah, that's a
Style.
good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
We
And-
want diversity. We want people asking questions, whatever. But in like security forces, maintenance, you don't want people doing that. We don't
No,
want diversity in those different.
But
tracks.
you know where I think I got lucky? So coming in as an airman, and you're talking about back into that, a lot of the NCOs and senior NCOs, they were cross trainees. They were maintainers. They were security
Yeah.
forces. They were, and their mentorship was hands-on. It's like, hey, Lopez, let me talk to you. Let me do this, and that. And
Sure.
and as space started breeding their own, it's like that became a last start. And then, but then we
No.
got so PC that it's, oh, we're going to do paper, we're going to do that. And you never really had a legit conversation with your supervisor because then they like the culture also changed. So like,
I'll tell you where Sibbers changed. Sibbers
not
changed.
Sibbers, I'm talking about not Sibbers.
No,
I'm
no, no.
talking
But I'll just refer to Sibbers because you can tell the difference from when we were there to where it is now. And the reason why it changed because Sibbers used to have you couldn't go there unless you had a 5 level.
that's true.
So
too.
we were getting no new airmen. We were getting no new officers. I know 5 level doesn't apply to the officers, but all the lieutenants were going to the missile fields, and then they would
We
come
had-
to Sibbers.
we
So
had
basically,
senior
you had a
captains.
more mature
Oh,
force that
yeah.
was there, and it was a different feel. When they waived all that and they stopped making lieutenants go to the missile fields, and then
As a
were
second
flooded
term
with all
assignment.
these officers, now you have 2. You have 1 officer for every 2 enlisted. So the ratio's all screwed for 1. And you got to put an officer in charge of something. So they were almost doing NCO duties. And the NCOs were getting, they're like, well, I guess I don't have to do that shit. And it was just, and it just kind of rolled. And then you got new brand new out of tech school guys, and it changed the force over a few years. It was really
Speaking of
interesting.
that, security forces and maintainers, they have what, 2 officers maybe in a squadron of like 300 to 400?
So the NCOs have to be more
Yeah,
involved.
your senior NCO corps
Right.
and the cops are usually the ones stepping up for that.
And I guess what I'm saying is I did appreciate the fact that many of my first supervisors, they were cross trainees. They came with different experiences, but they knew how to supervise. They knew how to guide me through.
Yeah.
They taught me how to Air Force and what to worry about and
Right.
what to take care of. And I felt that when I became of those ranks, that I would take care of the people the way I was taken care of. But not everybody got lucky like that. And then, as you know, it changed. Like it's like a lost art. That's what I feel like. It might be specific to career fields, right? So I don't want to say.
I think it's
all
very
Air Force,
specific. Yeah.
Agreed.
but like,
Space is so.
I get,
but now it's
well,
its
not
own
even
force.
space, but sometimes when you talk to Intel, when you talk to a lot of the techie type of career fields, it seems very similar that they have the same issues. But I mean,
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, go ahead.
I think it also boils down to not necessarily manual labor, but tasks you absolutely have to get finished before
Yeah.
the shift's done.
Important.
So
Yeah,
you
right.
you were blunt about getting you. Okay, we got 10 minutes. Where are you at with your CDCs? Where are you at with this mentality? Where are you at on this? You're good. Let's get out there and get working. Okay, we
Yeah.
have a task, and then there's none of that sense of urgency, sense of task completion in the majority of space. The majority of space is same job day in, day out. There's no real incentive to get done with what you're doing
It's not much of an
or
end product at
get
all.
yeah, there's no end product. There's no real other than missile warning, but that's after 45 seconds and then you're done. And that's the end product kind of
And
thing.
actually, you're doing your job if you're just meeting standard.
You're just
You
sitting
can't go
there.
above and you can't go above and beyond the standard. It's
And I
just
think that-
meeting the standard. So
That breeds a level of kind of lackadaisical mentality in mentorship and we'll kind of get to it tomorrow. We got plenty of time. Don't worry about it.
sure.
And then when the evals went away, like the hardcore evals where, oh, which way did you go? And the whole crew is like, we went left out this door. And then there's one dumbass in the corner. Yeah, I went right out the door to this motherfucker. All of you dead.
That was
Right?
the dumbest
And
eval input.
Either way, you were strategizing that. You were discussing that as a crew. You were building that, like, okay, this guy's fucking horrible on this.
Yeah.
You were building that camaraderie.
That's
And it
right.
all went away with the stringent evaluation process. And
I will
that
tell you
just
this.
led to the lackadaisical mentality.
As a cop, as a security force member, it's totally
She's
different
back.
from the
15.
immediate instance that you walk up to the armory and you pick up a live weapon
Yeah.
and they issue you a live ammunition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hand is being held all the way to the clearing barrel so you can load the weapon properly,
For guard
being
mount, yeah.
observed loading the weapon properly until you holster it. And then you stand guard mount where you have a senior NCO or an NCO, junior NCO, who is doing a quick inspection to make sure you are squared away.
Random stringent evaluations.
Yeah,
Right.
that you're
What
not drunk,
happen
you're
if
not drugged,
failed
you're
one
ready
of
to roll.
Eric, what would happen if you failed one of those? Guard
Oh,
mount.
you were pulled, you were moved. You didn't go to work today. You
Oh,
were
no
So you're
shit,
and
really?
and then and then I'm assuming verbally abused or freaking you were
Or maybe you got
Test,
paperwork, right? Did
Oh,
you
put
get
on
yeah.
some
paperwork?
menial task to repetitively remember what was wrong. You know, that
now
kind
it
of
would
thing.
certainly take a lot to remove you from guard mount. Now, if you were drunk or something like that, of course,
Yeah.
you're turning in your weapon immediately under supervision. Yeah, those kind of things you were removed immediately. So again, when you carry a live weapon every day, it's a little different because you got to. I mean, how many
Right.
times did you guys hear cops shooting the clearing barrel? It
More
happens.
times than it's like, why did they do that? What?
Yes, yes. But again, that's why you had the barrel. Plus, you had a
Right,
clearing
right,
barrel
right.
official who was supposed to be reviewing it. And if the weapon went off, he wasn't doing his job either. So,
Yeah.
failure.
No, but But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do feel just relaxing on a lot of things that weren't relaxed on has really created a culture of just being relaxed. I don't have to worry. I'm gonna be the cool supervisor. I'm also scared to even get on their asses because I might get canceled too.
Well,
So
you're going to get,
it's just,
yeah, somebody's going to complain about you.
I mean, when was it like?
Behind you.
When was the last time you heard of like a supervisor just being a supervisor, getting on somebody's ass like, "Hey, fix this shit," or or else, right? But no, now it's like, "Hey, I gotta bring you in. I have to have a witness. I'm gonna give you paperwork, and it has to be. It's just,
And that paper is going to be
expensive.
disputed. What?
it's just not effective. It's like it doesn't seem genuine on like supervising somebody, and I think sometimes that's also missing. That's why people are getting out too.
Yeah. Well, maybe the foundation's course will help. I don't know. So we'll see.
Whole 5 days of it.
Good
All
call.
5
All
days.
5 days.
Right. And 20%, it's 80% is going to be standardized, and 20% is up to the base. So they can tailor some of that
Ooh.
course to what they want.
But
That
here's the other
sounds
thing.
great.
They can tailor one day to what
And
they
I'll
want.
get off my box after this, but everything that Eric was talking about, Jake and stuff, like the people that stayed in after embracing the suck, I think became awesome leaders. Not everyone, but many of them became awesome leaders and stuff. They learned a lot from those lessons, and then they were able to like, okay, I'm a supervise people. This is what
Apply
I learned. And apply it, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like to me, like those other old school ways filtered out a lot of people that didn't want to stay in the military. Okay, bye. And I know we've changed, and I'm not trying to be crusty, but it's just like there is still some effectiveness to that. So where can we meet in the middle for something like this? I just don't know. So
Would you stop that?
Anna.
I personally like the 1 day thing because then they can tailor it, especially the Space Force, they can tailor it towards what Juan was saying. That 1 day they can throw in the weapon system doctrine.
Yeah, I would almost say
it's only
that
going to be commanders' issues, base commanders' issues.
probably.
That's the 1 day.
But it would be nice to address the environment of your work environment, right? You know, how do we do this stuff? So,
Well, I have a question. And prior enlisted, of course, and then you became an officer. How well did you use your NCOs? Did you rely on your senior NCOs to do the job, or did you go,
yeah,
I am doing this job, I'm taking care of the business? Or did you put them to work like the hell they're supposed to be?
So it depends. If you're asking when I was enlisted, I depended on my NCOs.
No, I was more along lines of on
when you became an officer,
yeah.
When I was an officer, I was then space. So it depended on the NCO. It really depended on the NCO. If I could,
really,
if
he had the correct rank, that you should be depending on his ass anyway.
Nope.
no,
Nope.
Nope.
I know
I mean,
I
if
get
you
that.
got a
because-
master sergeant, he's
To be
supposed
fair, I think honestly, the little bit that I saw her as the leadership, she had her go-tos, and we all had our go-tos,
We all
and
have
then
those, yeah, right,
and then
right.
there was those ones where you're like, fuck, all right, this is gonna be work, but I
I
gotta
have
do
to
it.
give you this task. I know you're gonna f it
Eric,
up.
you know damn well you were guilty of it too.
Of course,
We were all guilty of it.
Of course, you certainly.
And
Have
it didn't matter rank, right? You're like, this guy's a tech, this guy's a tech, but I know damn well if I give it to this guy,
Right,
he's
right.
gonna divvy it up, and it's gonna be smooth.
there was certainly a competency level.
If I give it to
right.
this guy, it's gonna be like 48
it's
questions
not
and
gonna
random
work.
bullshit coming back. And well, I can't do this now. I can't possibly do this now because I've got this job. Like, okay, fucking hey. Right? Like,
oh my goodness.
just forget
you know
about
damn
it.
well that's true.
Just forget
You
about
know
it.
damn well that's
Forget about
true.
it.
Yeah.
When I was a superintendent, I had when I was a flight chief, I had an element lead who eventually made chief. But he came up to me and was bitching about somebody who was in his element and how she never showed up. I can't get her to show up. I'm like, you're telling me that you can't get somebody who you're in charge of, that you can't get her to show up on time. Yeah, it's pissing me off. I was like, yeah, that's pissing me off. It's like you don't see that. So it's
Oh, man.
difficult for that. But
the one
he
thing that cracked
succeeded.
me up the most is I had a tech sergeant come to me, and she was like, "Hey, my troop, senior airman, it's disrespecting me. It's not coming in time. This and that." I was like, "Cool." I looked at her. I was like, "What time did?" I was like, "What time did you come in?" So, "Oh, I just got here 10 minutes ago." Okay, and I was like, "I'm not a clock watcher. I'm one of those people like you get the job done, you do it right. I don't care what time
You're
you
a
come in or
clock
whatever."
watcher.
Oh, there was an
I am
L. No.
So, anyways, so she tells me, "It's like, well, I came in at this time. This is like," I was like, "All right, then you start coming in early. You set the example." I was like, "Because if I go talk to him, then I'm already overstepping your authority. So either you take care of it, because if I take care of it, I'm gonna take care of you. Same
Yeah,
thing. You're
that's
gonna
what
be
I
this
said.
too.
So
So
you
if
don't
you
want to
want
be in
me,
the position you hold.
if you want me to
Remove
micromanage you,
Yep.
or do you want to take care of it and be the example? It's up to you."
I
And
had
then,
a
"Oh, you're not listening to me." Oh my
I
gosh.
had a senior NCO that actually told a major twice that she wasn't going to do something for him. And I was
Wow.
like, that is bullshit. So I got up because the major kept coming to me and he was like, I don't know. She just keeps saying no. Like she won't do it. She says you're supposed to do it. And I was like,
Both of them are
there's
fired.
no
They're
way
both
that a
fired.
senior NCO is going to tell a major no twice and tell me as a captain that it's my responsibility. So
Wow.
I went into her office. We shut the door. I think, Juan, you might have been in there. I don't know. But
Whoa.
I was super
Was it
upset.
Juan? Was it Juan?
No, it wasn't him.
Damn it.
But it was after that, it was yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Whoa, no way.
No, you don't have that kind of power. You don't tell a FGO no twice,
Yeah.
not once,
Yeah.
twice, and then say
Once
it's my
again,
responsibility as a captain
Go space.
because I have access. I was like,
Well-oiled machine.
And I
Wrong.
Jake,
Yeah,
Jake,
but that's
you know
a
this
captain
person
doing the
too.
right thing there, Eric.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Space
that.
or
I'm
not
saying
space.
I'm identifying the problem in the first place. An NCO that doesn't know his role, who can freaking backmouth the officer? Are you kidding me?
And then the bigger
But-
problem is that later in the day, I get called in by the OG commander, who was her boss,
Here it comes.
saying that I was in the wrong. So I was like,
Yep.
What?
this is such a
Marty,
huge problem.
that
Oh no,
is
I know
why.
exactly who you're talking
Right
about.
there.
And you know
'Cause
what?
you have
that was
no-
one of my first steps that I was like, I'm going to retire. I'm
Yeah.
about to.
So
Because as soon as you have no cover, top cover, it's like, what the fuck am I doing?
you know what's funny? Anna?
They undermine authority at every level.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that, Anna? Jake's heard me go off on her too.
Yeah, it's
On the same
crazy.
senior NCO.
I think I even
because-
excused myself after you were
because-
yelling at her. I was
They're
like,
pointing at you, Jake.
Who
No,
is
you got
this
you got
person?
you got my text messages. That's who we're talking about.
Oh,
I don't know
Um,
who you're talking.
either way, Marty, remember when
crazy.
Precious was late and he was constantly late for changeover?
Right.
And I solved it like
Changeover?
weapons.
No way.
Yeah, exactly. I solved it like a weapons NCO.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? I was like, fine. You can't be on time. You and I are here extra 15 minutes early every fucking day. And then he went to the crew.
He did.
The crew and they're like, you can't do that. You can't just single him out. I was like, he's singling himself out. He's the only one late. And I said I was coming in 15 minutes early with him. And they're like, you can't do that. And I said, well, and so I got scolded for that. And then I got scolded for the extra move of, hey, all the crew mission side, all the crew of senior airmen and below DSOs, you're all coming in extra 15 minutes early because of that guy right there.
Nice. Yeah, the group
I'm like,
punishment.
I'm
That's
not
a classic.
singling him out.
It's a
I'm not
classic.
singling him out.
Right,
That's
right.
the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
If you're failing, we all fail. He dropped the ball, so you all dropped the ball.
And the biggest key is what Anna just said. When you realize you have no top cover,
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen.
then you're out there on an island and your ass is fucking exposed,
And-
man.
So
And
you're like,
what happened to like
Shit,
blanket?
nobody's got my back. All
What
right,
happened to
well,
like blanket top cover? And then even if I disagreed with you, Marty, and let's pretend like some weird world you're below me,
I had your
and I
back.
disagreed with you, I would agree with you at that moment in front of everybody.
And then pull
Yep.
you
And
aside.
behind
I
closed
said it,
doors.
we're good. And then I'm like, hey, man,
That was dumb.
this is probably not the best way to do it. Maybe
Right.
next time we're going to do it, we're going to
Right
let this
on.
play out for a little bit.
Right.
We'll reassess. But there's none of that. It's just, no, that's a dumb decision. And they say it to your subordinate or the subordinate. Just like with Anna, I'm like, no.
It's crazy.
I wouldn't survive anymore in the
There,
military.
there,
today.
there are two things, and I'll wrap this up because we could go for another hour on it, right?
Heck yeah.
But there are two things. There's the lack of top cover, and then there's the, oh, I said something, but somebody heard that and went around and complained about it, and now it comes back down. You're like, hey, we heard you were disrespectful. I was like, what are you talking about? Somebody complained about you. And I'm like, the fucking anonymous complaint. So you get it from that way, and you get it from now they're not protecting you as whatever your rank and status is. That's what it's.
Yeah, if that person can't come to my face and tell me,
But
what
it's both. It's both of those situations. If you got that going on, it's like, why are you putting me in charge? Because you just set me up to fail now.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I know, Juan, looking at your text. Yeah. I ran
Yeah,
into
and-
multiple
how come you didn't send me
issues
that
with
text? I
person.
didn't get that text.
I don't know if you know the
You know
individual,
her.
but
I know exactly. I was
Right.
at
now he
I
gets
guess
it.
Me and
area.
Eric are sitting here
Before we
going, "We don't
blow
know what
cover."
to do."
We'll do it
Yeah.
after the recording.
Nobody listens to us, but 8,000
No.
people.
God forbid she hears this, and then it becomes like this.
Oh, it's
That could be. Then
Like-
then
Rat
we'd
yourself out.
Louis
I
like
could give
soar.
a shit. I'm not active duty.
Listen
anymore.
to
If you're rock broke, I'll tell you you're broke.
Mr. Turkey speaks.
Damn right, man.
Oh,
It's freaking crazy, man. Okay.
Hey, is it Mr.
Next.
Turkey?
Anna just
All
said
right.
next.
All right, we'll cover that on the post show. Okay,
Patreon.
last story
They're
just
all-
to close
all
it up.
your actual name dropping and gouge. So subscribe to our Patreon.
Hey now.
Yeah, Patreon or Eric's OnlyFans. It'll be on there too.
Or Eric's OnlyFans. Yeah,
I'll
a lot of
post names
gouge
on the
there.
OnlyFans.
We haven't pitched to Eric Mr. History OnlyFans in a while, so
That's true. I'm feeling a little.
see
out-
that's
out- what a stud.
there.
What a
Oh yeah, the
stud.
picture. Mm,
What a
that
stud.
is nice.
He sent me that picture via
That's
text.
share. And that's,
How much oil? How much oil is on like on your body right there? Is
All of it. All of
all
it.
of it.
It was
All
painted.
the oils.
It's drenched.
It was
Yeah.
painted on, by the way.
He's a mirror. He's a mirror.
Was that a
and
flash
he
dance
was-
scene only with baby oil?
and he was smooth.
Man,
was
he
so
glistened.
second place.
No shit, you got second in
Glisten.
that competition?
Glisten like silver.
Second place.
Boom.
Second runner or
Bronze.
first runner?
Bronze. Listened like bronze.
got
There
a
was way too
silver.
much bronzing.
I don't even know if the story's worth it.
And the three shows I did, I got second. All of them. Lost to the same guy each time.
Yeah.
No
He
shit.
had better glutes.
He
Yeah,
looked
what
at-
was it? What was the body part that he excelled at?
He had a smaller waist than I did, according to the judge.
That's a tough one genetically to get around, right?
Small waist. Yep. Small waist. Bigger thighs.
I don't know. We got a long time. I don't think we even need to do the spider story. Let's just do you want to do the spider story? Eric, go to regale us with some U.S.
This
military.
day
Little bit
in
of history.
history.
So I got two of them for you, and they're quick, but they're very somber. But very
Always, you're always bringing us sad news.
Shit in history was very sad. It truly was.
There's some fun times. in history.
So the first one, this one's tough, and it's hard, but I want to bring it up. On August 6, 2011, insurgents shot down a Chinook transport helicopter in Afghanistan,
Oh shit!
killing all 38 people on board, including 15 Navy SEALs from teams.
That was August 6th.
August
Wow.
6, 2011,
Wow.
man. The Tangi
Wow.
Valley, located
Yeah.
along the border between Afghanistan and Wardak. Well, you guys all know the story there, so I'm not going to go
Well,
back.
no, go through it. I mean, people listen might not know, so
Okay, all right. So it was located along the border between Afghanistan's Wardak and Logar provinces, some 80 miles southwest of Kabul. It's a remote, inaccessible area known for its resistance to foreign invasion. Of course, Alexander the Great suffered heavy troop losses there during his campaign.
Yep.
But in 2009, U.S. forces from the Mouth Division of the U.S. Army established a base in Tangi Valley. And again, so the bottom line here, under the cover of darkness on the night of 6 August 2011, a special ops team that included a group of U.S. Army Rangers began an assault on a Taliban compound in the village of Jah-e-Mecca in the Tangi Valley. The firefight at the house went on for at least 2 hours, and the ground team called in reinforcements. Chinook CH-47 transport helicopter called sign Extortion 17, carrying 30 U.S. troops, 7 Afghan commandos, an Afghan civilian interpreter, and a U.S. military dog, approached the insurgents, fired on the helicopter. As they approached, the insurgents fired on the helicopter, and it crashed to the ground, killing all aboard. They were the QR, the quick reaction team coming to help those guys. So terrible. The attack on 6 August was the most devastating day in SEAL Team 6's history, as well as the single largest loss of life for U.S. forces since the war.
Wow.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, 38. God bless, man.
Big one.
That's crazy.
The other one that was pretty substantial in history, on August 6, 1945, boys and girls, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Hiroshima.
Was
That'll
that
happen.
little boy?
August 6th. Little boy was the first one. Yeah.
Was that on
No.
August 6th, or was
Fat
that
Man.
Fat Man?
It was Fat Man. And then on 9 August, the second bombing, which was Little Boy, was dropped on Nagasaki. The bombings led to Japan's surrender, bringing an end to World War II, which claimed the lives of 418,500 American civilians and soldiers, according to the National World War II Museum. So pretty substantial. Of course, it opened up a serious can of whoop ass today that we deal with a nuclear threat continuously now, especially today. The rhetoric of our adversaries talking about using nukes is continuous. So,
It's funny. I remember, I think in like middle school or something like that, we covered that. Maybe it was junior high, and they were like, "Hey, go home and ask your parents if they should have dropped the second one."
yeah.
Right? I was like, "Okay." I go home and ask Dad, like, "Dad, do you think they should have dropped it?" He's like, "Fuck yeah, got the war over." It's like, all right.
Well, today, and I'm sure you guys have heard, a lot of people rethink the whole process of dropping the bomb.
Right.
But going back and trying to second guess that now is ridiculous. It's done. It happened. I'm sure Japan would have fought to the last man and woman if we'd.
And the casualties of a Japanese beach landing would have been enormous.
And in World War II, we had lost so many men. I mean, millions for all nations.
Right,
probably best. Of course.
Wow, Eric. You got to come up with a happy day in history, like a victory, some victory we did, right?
I bet there's a camel that was eaten.
Eaten. Your happy day is killing a camel and eating it that you loved.
There he is.
Yeah.
The camel.
So, Anna, that's why that camel is up there. What was the camel's name?
It wasn't Reckless.
Douglas the camel. So the South in the Civil War had a camel, Douglas the camel.
Well, they were using camels for pack mules, like a pack mule. But
what was the battle? Do you remember the battle?
Oh,
it wasn't Shiloh. It was one of those major battles. A Union guy shot that damn camel. Right?
And they ended up eating him because they was the Southern forces.
And they were under siege and running out of food, and they ended up eating Douglas the camel.
There you go. Wow.
Poor Douglas. He
Poor
was
Doug.
working so hard.
He's no Reckless.
Well, he wasn't really working.
He's not a Reckless.
No, he wasn't Reckless the dog. That's a good one to revisit.
That's a terrible.
Maybe we should revisit that. Maybe we should redo it with some new animals. I don't know.
What was the horse?
Now that we've got Anna and Juan, we should do
that. Was your horse, wasn't it?
We'll bring some.
I like that horse.
I don't know. Maybe we'll think of it. Okay, we had end up. Anna, your daughter, okay? I saw she came back.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
wait,
We'll leave it at
wait,
that.
what?
She's
What?
not saying much.
He's not okay.
We're on
You
pins
went
and
mute
needles.
for a little while
We're
there,
on pins
This
and
is
needles.
drama.
but I thought
What
the guy
happened?
was just a friend.
No, it's other friends.
It's
It's 17-year-old drama.
Yes.
She
It's
wanted to go out again.
entertaining, you know, if
Can I
you,
go out
if you
later,
don't
Mom?
care
I
about
want
it.
to go
so.
out later. It's only 9:30. I'm going to go later.
Yeah, it's true. And it's still summer.
Yeah, jeez, only squares stay home at 9:30, man, in the middle of August.
Your friends don't even go out till like 9:30. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like
I know.
9:30.
Right.
Go to bed, children.
Just like I did way back when.
At least I
I
didn't
never
talk to my
stayed up.
At
parents.
least pretend to go to bed and then sneak out like every
Yes!
respectable teenager.
I didn't bother them with "Can I go?" and you're stuck with this hesitation of like it's 9:30.
All right, real quick, what's your best sneak out story when you're 16, 17, 18?
Don't
So
put this on the
snuck out
air.
the back
You give your daughter
door.
ideas.
My mom, no. Snuck out the back door. My mom realized it, locked the door, came back intoxicated. Thought it would be smarter for me to try to sneak back in, but right up against that window is like a dryer. So each time I tried to like push myself in, it boom, like my head. Then I tried to do a handstand.
What? Oh, my
Either
goodness.
way, it was just a bad idea and very noisy. So my mom obviously got up and she opened the door. She was like, "Do you need help?" And I was like, "I'd like to come inside, please."
Mom, can you bring the garbage can so I can sleep?
And
Please.
Please.
yeah, after that, I think it was like an hour and a half long lecture of
Ooh,
how
yeah.
irresponsible that is.
Yeah.
I
My
never
dad-
did
my
it
dad-
again.
Good.
My
Oh,
dad would lock
okay.
the door on us, and then he wouldn't open the door until the morning, so we would have to find a place to stay.
Yep.
Oh.
I thought she was going to do that.
Wow.
I was like, man, I'm stuck. I'm
What
done.
do I do? Do I just sleep in the backyard?
And there's mosquitoes in West Texas. There are mosquitoes.
Nice.
You want to go inside.
Well,
It's a traumatic event.
I know.
Way to
that's-
go, Marty.
Handstands, though.
Jeez.
what
I
made
didn't
you
know
do a
it'd be so
handstand?
elaborate. That's
was
that's
crazy.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. See, we're getting to know our new team member here, so that's
There you
fun.
go.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I hope your daughter is okay. No hickeys.
So, Anna, you tell your daughter, do as I say, not as I do.
Well, she
I'm
doesn't know
done.
these stories. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean,
Not a bad
imagine it with us parents. We didn't know. We barely knew. I mean, with our parents, we barely knew anything about them, right?
True.
And now it's like our kids are going to be like, "Hey, you were just telling that story on that podcast, and I think I'm
Oh,
going to
yeah.
They're
try
not
that."
listening to this crap.
I know that's true. Even the people who are doing the podcast aren't listening to this.
Yeah,
Podcast.
exactly. Amen.
Well, then let's end up, you ungrateful sons of bitches. So. On behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments. And make sure next week that you are not late for changeover.
No.
Late for changeover.
For all your excessive oiled needs, please go to Mr. History OnlyFans.
He's still receiving shipments of that in hopes that he
Oh.
will rekindle
Yeah.
that.
I now have a
The
spray
gallon
booth.
jug.
I've
by the
moved off from
gallon.
the paintbrush to we spray it now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ah,
There you
more
go.
even.
Nice.
you
Yeah.
don't have to rub it in, huh?
2 coats, put the fan on, just stand there for a little while, let it
It's
dry.
only preferred now. It's
Yeah.
not required.
Would you? Let's say that you did it all up yourself, but you couldn't get the underarms, and so when you hit that double by and you had this big white landing strip underneath,
Mhm.
would you
people
be
do.
like losing points?
No.
Oh,
What it does is it takes away from the lighting. The lighting is designed,
So you
Oh,
see the
because you
more-
got to have the shadows to make the
the
muscles.
striations and the rips and the yeah.
Marty, I've got a confession to make. My roommate in Alaska he participated in these flexathons as well.
That's
Like
right.
And-
slip-on.
Was he the one you had the picture of? That put the
Oh,
picture
you had
of
to
somebody?
rub.
Oh
you had
no,
to rub-
no.
Oh, okay.
I actively painted his back on numerous occasions.
Wow.
That was a good roommate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were real good because I couldn't
Yeah.
even get my son to shave my back. I said,
Oh, I'm not shaving his.
come
I wasn't
on.
shaving his back.
Oh,
But
You're
I-
rubbing
but I did
bronzer
get
on his
the-
back.
I did
way
get the
too
foam
intimate.
brush, and I'd be like, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
bruh.
Really?
That's worse than
Nice.
shaving the back. You're getting all artistic.
Oh
and-
no, that's shaving. No,
You're separated
shaving
by a
feels so much
sponge
more
this
intimate.
thick.
Yeah.
Shaving, you're right there, man. You
It's
are
a
right
razor.
there.
Oh.
for Christ's sakes.
In
Razor.
the Patreon, I'll tell you some filth that went down. That sponge was nothing.
Anna, have
And
you
the
ever
space-
had anybody shave your legs, Anna, besides you?
Me? No,
Yeah. Would you?
no.
Your husband's never done that?
No, it's too scary. What if I get nicked or something?
Oh, yeah.
Take
Yeah,
off my
trust your loved one.
That's a
skin.
control issue.
You got
That's not a that's a control issue.
Absolutely right. I'll deal with my hair.
Yeah.
You just
I
get
got
the finished
you.
product. Don't help
No.
me on the way. Right?
Maybe painting my back, maybe,
Yeah.
but not
Oh.
a razor.
Yeah.
Or tattooing your back with a
Oh,
I love the Air Force tattoo.
I had Teeny, who has a built-in tan, right? She doesn't know the importance of sunscreen and whiteness.
She doesn't need it.
Right.
Right.
Oh, she had such a lackadaisical approach to putting sunscreen on my back. I swear it was like
You got
good. The next day I was fucked up. And she goes, "Oh, this is serious." I was like, "Yeah." My back, like just freaking red stripes, like splotches of shit. She goes, "Oh, you were serious about the sunscreen." And I'm like, "What do you?" Yes.
Well, she just fingertip it.
Dude, it was like, okay, go. Just go.
You're good.
Interrupting my day.
You're good.
Whatever. Sunscreen, schmunscreen. Freaking. I'm over here with freaking boils and shit. She's like, "Oh,
Well, if you feel better, I'm going down to the beach. So if you want to
Yeah.
join us,
this is you. This is your fault, right here. I'm on house arrest now because of you."
Permanent.
Crew, thanks for the week. And for all you listening and watching, thanks for watching and listening. And we'll see you next week.
Good deal. Later, troops.
See you guys.